Hey, everybody. It's February 20th, Thursday. Still weird for me to say that after so many years of doing these things on Fridays. I'm Kevin Murcko, CEO here at Coinmetro. It says so on the shirt. Well, it doesn't say CEO. I haven't gotten those shirts yet, just in case, like maybe they make me janitor or something, and then I got to change the shirts. Bit of a pain in the butt. Anyway, this is called an AMA. Ask me anything. You ask, I answer. Pretty simple and straightforward. I already see some questions, so we're just going to jump right in. Might as well not waste any time. So this is either an easy or a hard question to answer. I don't know. It depends on how my day's going, I guess. Thanks for being here. I kind of have to be here. Thank you for being here, though. You didn't have to come. How's your day going? My day's all right, actually. Been having a good amount of calls today. A little bit of work in between those calls as well, which is always nice. And I had a good coffee in the morning. So, yeah, I don't know. So far, so good, I guess. Any news on Market Maker for XCM? Yeah, actually, I do. Right now, it looks like end of month, Market Maker will be live on XCM. Not only that, let me just check my cheat sheet here. Not only that, but also liquidity provision for an extended amount of alts, as well as aggregation for majors should also be done at the end of the month. That's going to get rid of these kind of downtimes where we see sometimes spikes on charts, et cetera, because we'll have automatic aggregation rather than having a manual switch in the background that sometimes on unscheduled maintenance, we don't know we have to turn on. Yeah, XCM, MM, right now I see likely end of this month, as well as liquidity provision across alts, as well as aggregation as well. So there you go. I had a cheat sheet because I knew some of these questions were coming. So I didn't write the cheat sheet. So thank you for, who wrote the cheat sheet knows. So thank you very much. I'm excited about USD deposits and withdrawals reopening and ETA. So deposits are already open via Swift. We're still working on cards and then ACH. Cards right now look like potentially end of March. ACH going to be a bit longer than that. I predicted that USD was going to get easier right after the Trump election, and that we probably would see banks opening back up the doors. I've already heard rumors that even big commercial banks are already opening accounts, company accounts for crypto exchanges not domiciled in the US. That was a no-no for years. That's already happening. I expect customer deposit accounts will probably reopen as well. I estimated around 6 to 12 months. That was my estimate before Trump got into office, even before he was elected, if he was elected. I think that timeline is going to be right on the money. So anyway, we have a few providers that we've already selected for ACH. We're trying to find, the best provider to work with from all different angles. But yeah, Swift USD deposits are already online. Withdrawals were delayed a little bit due to some integration, not issues, but just having to do other things. I think withdrawals will also be online sometime by the end of March, but deposits are online now. Not a question, but hey, Bobby, hello, hello, hello. I think I owe you an answer in Telegram. I'll do that after the show. Any news on funding? So no specific news yet. I can say we're pretty deep in talks related to funding, growth, and some really other exciting things. Can't share really anything with you guys as of yet. I hope to be able to share something with you by the end of March or around the end of March. Also planning a shareholders meeting by the second week of April. So if you're a shareholder, you'll probably get a lot of that information that even doesn't go public by the second week in April. But there is a lot happening in the background. I'm noticing, what I'll tell you is there's a trend that I'm noticing that I would say close to 50% of the calls we get on, the strategy for investors is very similar, whether they be other exchanges, whether they be other fintechs, whether they simply be, I don't know if that was proper English, whether they simply are, just looking to make investments. Everybody believes that there's going to be a certain amount of consolidation around MiCA, and a lot of the bigger players are looking to gobble up, not a whole bunch of smaller exchanges, but trying to wait for someone to gobble up the smaller exchanges and then buy one or two larger entities. I'm hearing that a lot. And a lot of the talks I'm having are going down that route, trying to figure out how we can cooperate, have joint ventures, et cetera, with other players in this industry to be able to create something that a future investor can't say no to. So did Alec follow up with the Little Light team? I forgot to ask Alec about that, actually. Alec's been pretty busy on some other stuff. So that's the thing I was going to catch up to you about on Telegram, Bobby. I will find out about that, but Alec's probably watching. So Alec, if you're watching, Bobby's been asking me now for a while, and I haven't gotten back to him about this, community manager integration for Little AI. Apparently we have to fill out a form, and we haven't filled it out. So Paul, hey, Kev, let me be the first to ask about bizdev. You are the first, so gold medal or gold star for the bizdev question. There's actually, in conjunction with potential investment, there's a lot of bizdev talk. That is not necessarily shaping our 2025 strategy, but very much is involved in that 2025 strategy. So I can't share anything right now. I wish I could, because there is a lot of juicy stuff happening, but I will be able to, and when I can, you'll hear all about it. But yes, there is bizdev stuff going on, very much entwined with fundraising. So yeah, already covered that one. Moving on. So investor signups, I guess you mean clients, going well, actually. So I also have this on my cheat sheet. So as I guess a lot of you here know, so we have 2 marketing campaigns currently running. We have our newbies campaign, which you may have seen around Twitter and other social media, or sorry, X and other tweets on X. Anyway, that's now in its 4th week. We also have a more advanced kind of headhunting ad campaign that's working to try and grab people from other exchanges. That's now in week 2. We've been pretty aggressively optimizing our cost of acquisition on those clients. Not going to give you numbers on this on today. Probably in the shareholder meeting though. So if you're a shareholder, you get some numbers. But suffice it to say, we've been able to have some of the best numbers we've ever seen on customer acquisition, and well beyond what we expected in terms of optimization in such a short amount of time. And so, yeah, that's really good. And even today, we actually cut it down by almost 70% in what we saw just today in terms of acquisition costs today. So about 30% of the budget that we allocated has been spent so far. And we're gradually increasing as we start to see those KPIs improve. So far, so good. I guess tied into that would be social media. We're now seeing organic impressions of hundreds of thousands a week. It's well beyond what we've ever seen in our history. Our SEO is really starting to shine. So that new website, the 57th new website that we put out, we actually did this one for a reason. So, whatever, you can say sorry later, but there was a reason for this website. It was optimized for SEO and for conversion. And so we've seen Google impressions globally and traffic skyrocket compared to where it was previously. Weekly traffic in the thousands, and that's mostly organic traffic, all targeting high-end key phrases within crypto. So trading pairs, different names of projects, etc., especially ones that may only be available on a small subset of exchanges, but even the ones that are available more widely. And just as an example, Brazil, for example, is now, we are now number 2 on the organic Google visibility chart, which is driving a lot of traffic to us. So I guess we need to start looking at Pix payments. So whoever's listening to product, I don't know, whoever's actually watching the AMA, I think this is actually in the employment contract. So hopefully it's everybody, but Pix, we need Pix payments now that Brazil knows about us. So that's pretty cool. Obrigado, Brazil. When will margin fees be added to the XTM buyback mechanism? We seem to really need it. I believe in Mars V2, that is part of the rollout. So Mars V2, we wanted to do at the end of last year. Stuff happened. I believe Q3, Q4 is when Mars is going to get tackled, and that'll bring a much big. That was like Trump. I wish I could do a Trump impression. I should work on it. Maybe I probably could. I was actually decent at impressions when I was younger. For some reason, not anymore. I don't know how. Puberty, I guess. But yes, this kind of big change to Mars is going to bring the margin platform into the picture, and it's also going to make it possible for you to earn every asset tradable on Coinmetro by staking XCM, which is really cool. What are the results of the current marketing? So I definitely answered that. You had mentioned about scale. So as I said, we're fine tuning around KPIs with the current cost of acquisition. We can scale it much more than probably we initially thought we could if we can maintain those numbers. Obviously, fundraising is part of that. So a good chunk of that fundraising is going to go into client acquisition. We are going to be spending some money regardless of that fundraise. But optimizing those numbers is going to mean we can maybe not spend more, but we will see more marketing. Any plans to offer BTC staking? You must have read my mind. It's on the roadmap right now, and we're pretty close to rolling it out. Pretty close. Are all new backend devs still at work at CM? If so, how the increased development going? So just had someone start on the back end roughly like less than a week ago, another one about a month ago, another one about 2 months ago. So I think we currently have 4 backend devs fully entrenched, and that's probably a good word. And so there's still some onboarding going on in the background. I believe by mid-March, they will be all independent and working on things independently. And that'll really start to speed up our ability to deliver in the future. I believe so. So all those different, it's a new bull market. Let's try and get some new investors. Let's change the name of our token things. Are all in the work in the back. Well, not in the works, but they're in the roadmap. They're set. They're on Jira. So yes, still should be on track. Elise, how are you? So anybody doesn't know Elise worked for us back in the day as our office manager. Did a really great job. I like Coinmetro. It almost sounds like coin like manure. I don't know. That had to be by mistake. We're doing good. Obviously not as good as we were when you were with us, but I hope you're well as well. Send us a message. Let us know how you're doing. I hope all things amazing on your end. Any update on the 5-year plan roadmap? Yeah, probably lots of updates on the 5-year plan roadmap. And those are going to come out more than likely in conjunction with our shareholder meeting, and then eventually will make their way probably end of April into May into the general public. Also, there's a lot of fundraising, JV, all kinds of different talks in the background that a lot of them will come to fruition around the end of March as well. So a lot of information about that. Good changes for sure, where there are some. Stupid as it sounds, Kevin, some of us don't know what Swift is. Can you explain what and how? Sure. Sorry. Yeah, that's true. Usually I'm pretty good about catching these things. Let me take a sip of water for this one. So Swift is, if you ever gone to the bank and done a bank wire and they asked you for a Swift code or a bank code, or if you're in the EU, maybe a BACS code, it's usually a alphanumeric code with letters and numbers, about 8 to 13 digits long. Sometimes ends in XXX, anyway, which is kind of odd. Those are placeholders because it doesn't have a specific routing number. Anyway, the point is that they're international transfers. And Swift is, if you live in the US, you have Fedwire. Before you had Fedwire, you have ACH. You also have domestic wire. You have to give an ABA code, an American Bankers Association code, to go from one bank to another. If you're in the EU, generally speaking, it's just your IBAN that you use. But the IBAN itself, your international bank account number, the part of that IBAN is a bank code. And that's how the transfer knows where to go. Globally, when you move money between countries, you need a SWIFT code. So bank account number, SWIFT code, bank name. SWIFT is just an organization that kind of routes bank transfers. Simple as that. So you go to your bank, you give them the bank account information, the SWIFT code, they send your US dollars from wherever you are in the world to our bank account, and we credit them to your Coinmetro account. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And yep, Shoba coming in. Thank you, Shoba. Great customer support from Shoba, even on the AMA. So I don't know what to say. Everybody knows we're good at customer support, but we're proving it all day long. Is it possible? Is it passable to organize an AMA with a Flux member team? I think there's a lot to discuss about. Yeah, probably. I imagine Daniel would be down, their CEO, to do an AMA. I can ask. I got him. I got him on Telegram, and X and a few other places. I'll ask him. Why not? Probably is overdue, to be honest. They got a lot of stuff working in the background, and so do we. So, how is revenue looking like this month? Let's see. I had just checked, actually. I think we're outpacing January in terms of where we are currently in the month. Give me a second while I load the data here. Ding, 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 ding. Let's see. I should have like the Jeopardy theme or something playing in the background, but I don't. I need theme music. You know what I like? If anybody's ever seen the Wolf of Wall Streets, I like the intro and stuff that he has. I think I need one of those. Alec, if you're listening, Jaime, we need a really cool intro, like Money Forehead. Money Forehead, I think, would be a good one. Anyway, so we're at about 76% of volume that we had within the month of January. Of course, that's slightly above because there's only 28 days, I believe, this year in February. We're at 76% as well of revenue. So revenue trailing volume identically. Correlation there is perfect. We're at 114% of revenue per user. So that's good to see. And 81% of total operations, 45% of users with first trade. So slightly less people with their first trade, but more money per user. So there you go. That's a quick breakdown. So going okay in the month of February. At what price would THT return to Mars? If I remember, the break-even price is just under 2 cents, and above 2 cents means that we can give some money away. That's a rough estimation. CM is supporting the PRQ to React swap, but when will you support staking? This could bring more revenue to the exchange and possible some clients and other exchanges who don't support it. Hey, Lou. Yeah, we're very much aware of that. We're going to support essentially a wrapped version on Ethereum initially because it's quicker and we can get it done right around the time that they launch React. The goal is then to support the native network. And once we do support staking, we very much want to do so. But we have other things that we believe will impact revenue more in the short term in the pipeline. Once those things are through, especially, like I said, come mid-March, we'll be able to put some of our back-end devs independently on their own projects. And this will speed things up. And this is definitely one of those things that would be on the to-do list. Hey, Kevin, can you hype up Reactive Network launch for us? Hey, Oliver. Hype it up. Well, I think it's kind of what we're going to see is what PRQ always wanted to be. So way back in the day when I remember having a meeting in the Coinmetro offices in Talon with Anatoly and three of the initial founders of Parsec. And they didn't even know if they should do a token. They were worried that, they might end up breaking the law, etc. And I told them, no, you absolutely need to do a token. You have a platform, you got mempool data, you haven't like kind of if this, then that type setup like a Zapier for crypto. You absolutely need a token. And once they launched the token, that initial idea they shared with me, now it's got to be 5 years ago, I guess, maybe even more than that, 6 years, probably it's pre-COVID actually. It's 6 years ago or more that they pre-COVID. Imagine that's now something that we say, or at least I say. Anybody else say that? Pre-COVID, PC, Jesus. So anyway, so pre-COVID, the initial vision that they shared is kind of what React is going to be. So the ability to really, really dive deep into data and mempool data and what happens on chain and analytics and being able to have actions based on, I'm sure, bring in like AI agents and be able to create complete business models around data that's flowing publicly on chain. Amazing. If done wrong, it's big. If done right, it's huge. How Dubai for new investors and new clients? Well, Dubai is obviously a bit saturated when it comes to crypto. That's for sure. It's also very much a free market in Dubai. So you'll have people launching meme coins, every day. And then you'll also have, let's say, more legitimate projects in terms of utility. And you'll have everything under the sun. In terms of capital, et cetera, most of the capital in the UAE is not actually in Dubai. It's elsewhere. We talk about the government. It's Abu Dhabi. It has nothing to do with Dubai. But Dubai is kind of the glitz and the glam. I actually met the head of growth for Vara in Dublin just this past week. It's why I didn't make a video last week, as you normally see launched on Fridays on X and other platforms, is because I had meetings with the Department of Finance as well as the head of growth of Vara and a few other people in Dublin. And we have our preliminary approval in Dubai. We expect by roughly Q3, we will have the full approval, and we will start to put some boots on the ground in the UAE inside of Dubai. I have some good connections. I've been told multiple times that as soon as we're there locally, we'll be able to expand our business there quite rapidly. Lots of cultures around the world have this thing. Asia is one of them. Middle East is another. I would say Latin America is also another. older, let's say old school style, and there's parts of Europe like that as well, but very old school where even if they know you, they trust you, if they can't go by and see you, shake your hand, see you in person, it's very difficult for them to close business. They'll close business, but as soon as you're there, business expands. And I think the UAE is definitely part of that. It's very new and very modern, but the way of doing business is still old school. I like that about Dubai in many ways. So Q3, we should be finalizing that. And in Q3 and Q4, we should be, like I said, boots on the ground. And we'll start seeing probably AED pairings, local currency, etc. When will CM be caught up on tech debt and focused on bizdev? Well, it's not that we're not focused on bizdev. We actually have a good amount of bizdev going on. And I think we're at the point now, we haven't gotten through all the tech debt, but we've gotten through some of that tech debt enough to be able to manage new projects, but we're very selective about new projects that we bring on. I think tech debt will be completely eradicated by the end of this year. Within that time frame, though, you will see new projects coming on Coinmetro. And when I say I don't just mean listings, I mean new stuff, new products, etc. Hey, Kevin, any new listings coming up that you can tell us about? Well, I can tell you that starting mid-March, we will have new listings almost on a weekly basis, if not a weekly basis. There's actually a line now. There's a queue. And so not only is it a revenue generator for us, which is great. It's not a massive amount of revenue because we don't charge a lot of money for listings, but it is a revenue generator, which is cool. But it also, we love bringing on new projects. We like working with new people. So you're going to see much more that I can talk about specifically. No. But you'll start seeing things on our X account and et cetera as we lead up to those listings. Would love to hear your macro outlet for the next outlook. It should be Friday. I feel like it needs to be Friday. Macro outlook, sure. So, I guess everybody knew that the kind of Trump in office was going to make things interesting and maybe, switch up the timeline a bit. In many ways, I still see mimics to other 4-year cycles. I don't see it completely different yet. What we do see now, the major thing we see now is this. Last bull run, there were probably, I don't know the exact number. I had the exact number somewhere because I actually looking this up. But there was probably close to like 1 million assets in reality in crypto. But there was maybe 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 like listed on CoinMarketCap. And in reality, there were probably 2,000 or 3,000 that garnered most of the liquidity. And out of there was 50 or 60 or maybe 100 that garnered the vast majority of liquidity. And so with Bitcoin making all-time highs back then, and then that money flowing down into alts, et cetera, it was a relatively small amount of alts. And so that boosted liquidity meant that the tide raised all ships, as they say. Now you have millions of assets sometimes being created within days. You have, I think, 40 million assets is the estimate right now. Obviously, a lot of those are garbage, but still, you have so many potential places that money can flow. And things like Pump Fund make it relatively easy, not for new money to flow in, but for old money to flow elsewhere. And of course, you had things like Trump coin, Melania coin, this coin out of Argentina, et cetera, that lots of money flew into very, very quickly. And people made some profit for sure. Some very small amount of people. And a lot of that money was then wiped out. And now that money, is with a very small amount of individuals, and it may not flow elsewhere. So we have kind of a liquidity issue in crypto right now when it comes to that rising tide, raising all ships. It's a good thing in the long run, because what it means is there is going to be a refocus on utility. And when that happens, you're going to have to be good at what you do to get market cap. You can't just be new. You can't have a great white paper. You're not going to just have to say a bunch of buzzwords. You're actually going to have to do something and prove that you can do it. You're going to need those tokenomics to back things up in the medium to long term. In the short term, meme frenzy will continue. It's being allowed to continue. You have places like Coinbase and Kraken now supporting the meme frenzy. From a business standpoint, I get it. It goes a bit against, I think, what Kraken stood for over the years. And that's a bit painful to see. But, I get it from a business standpoint. So while that's happening, you're going to continue to see meme coins launch. You're going to continue to see celebrities, the memification of politics, the memification of Hollywood, the memification of of KOLs, etc. You're going to see that KOLs being like influencers, basically. It shouldn't mean influencer, but that's what it means in crypto. It should mean someone that has knowledge about something that, preaches to the world. It's not what it means in crypto, generally speaking. And so you're going to continue to see that. And there's a lot of not so great stuff about that. At the same time, though, I've talked about meme coins in the past. Every bubble that crypto has created, ICOs, NFTs, meme coins, RWA, whatever. All those bubbles have really legitimate use cases. It's just the first people to fill the bubble are just there to money grab. And then eventually you see where the real value is. We still haven't seen tremendous real value out of NFTs, but non-fungibles are valuable. And eventually I think we will see value there, especially once you start to see more real world assets on chain. Real world assets right now is really just about the cost of capital. So there's really not a big advantage to an RWA other than cost of capital. I know people will make an argument otherwise, and I'd love to hear all those arguments. I've heard them all 155 times, but it's really about cost of capital. And while that's a thing, it doesn't get rid of the regulatory hurdles. It doesn't get rid of, it doesn't make things easier to access. It doesn't necessarily even democratize anything because that's already really been done. There's platforms out there that do that already. Cost of capital is a thing. So having said that, all these things have really legitimate value. And there are companies out there doing cool things. And eventually that real value will shine through. I kind of akin that to our own tokenomics. We've had, I think, the best tokenomics of any exchange since the beginning, but no one noticed them because, well, in order for it to see them, we needed to have the volume. We needed to show that the business was growing. And now that you see the business growing, you can see the power of the tokenomics. Same thing across the board for different platforms. So I think for the next few months, we're going to see a bit of chop. I do believe that you will start to see, I think in many assets, especially towards the top, we've probably seen, we're either very close to or we've seen a bottom. I think the market's trying to figure out, the market wants an excuse to buy, right? So it's sitting there thinking, well, come on, man. Like, I want to buy, but should I buy? Like, why should I be buying? It's waiting for something. The crazy thing is we've seen so many bullish things from, ETFs and EOs, executive orders, and all kinds of things out of the US. We've seen lots of positive news. We've seen lots of positive inflow on news media, etc. But that's almost becoming normal now, crazy enough. So there needs to be a catalyst. We'll see if that catalyst comes. US has a lot of debt they're going to have to refinance in March. That could cause some choppiness to the market for sure. I still think we're in the midst of a bull market. I still think we have about a year more of this. I think we might not see the telltale Q1, end of Q1, good, Q2, Q3, lull, Q4, good, Q1 next year, amazing. That may switch up, right? We may see a different ebb and flow than we've seen in the past, but I still think we have about a year more of this. And I think the market is so overwhelmed by so much good outwardly things happening politically, etc., that, it needs something else now. Maybe it's waiting on the crypto narrative to switch, meaning actually, Ethereum coming out and say that, I don't know, they're more scalable, or Solana coming out and saying that they're going to launch something like Pump Fund, but with legitimate projects. I don't know. The market's waiting for something. But generally speaking, I still think we see that year of bullishness overall through Q1 next year. Have you considered putting a best of snippets of your A-Man social media? They're pure gold. They need a wider runs. Thanks, Paul. I think we've done that in the past, like for a year-end wrap-up or something. I'm down. I'm sure AI could probably do it at this point, right? Just ask like ChatGPT. It'd probably do a good job of it. Thoughts of latest meme coin debacles like Argentina. Do you think meme coin mania is coming to an end? Yeah, I talked about this just briefly, just to make my final point on that one. I do think that there's viability with meme coins. I think the ability to create value based off of a meme, an idea, a joke, a moment in pop culture, I think is powerful. The world we live in now is very memeable. That's one. Two, memes are very powerful. You know, a picture speaks 1,000 words, as they say. Now imagine a picture with words on it. Whew, I don't know the multiplier there, but maybe it's like 1,000 times each word. I don't know. But memes speak for themselves. And companies, I think now and in the future, will start to use those memes to their benefit. I think the politicalization of memes is going to continue to happen, and maybe get more legitimized in terms of actual fundraising, in terms of grassroots campaigns, etc. I don't think this is the last political meme coin we're going to see. Hopefully politicians have learned now that they need to partner with the right people to do these things. And actually, it's not that hard to do. They can probably do it themselves. Just find the 18-year-old kid on your staff and don't even ask him if he knows about crypto. Just say, make a meme coin. He'll probably figure it out in 15 minutes. So no need to hire, the scammer that scammed the last 100 million out of the market. And so that's going to continue to happen. I do think it will eventually bring value. We definitely need a day of some cleanup on aisle 3, so to speak, when it comes to meme coins. That's going to happen organically. The great thing organically, the best thing about this market in general is when you see these things like the FTX crash, the Celsius crash, the, whatever, the Trump, the this or that, the market reacts and stabilizes in days. We don't need bailouts. We don't need anything. Free markets work. And so I think in the end, the market's going to clean itself up. The value will leave those assets. Those assets will become untradeable and it'll flow elsewhere. But we're going to see more of it before it ends. Not ends, but before it refines, I should say. An AMA with Thought AA would also be nice. They have zero exposure. Yeah, I was just talking to Mr. Hacken at Hacker. Sorry, not Hacken. Mr. Hacker at Thought. A lot of cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. I can't mention any of it because he told me not to. But they have some cool things that they're working on, some potential contracts, et cetera, that could be really amazing for them. They also said that they were going to be amping up their marketing, et cetera. And so I can't wait to see it. I also said that we're here to help. So I am open for an AMA, absolutely. If Andrew wants to jump on, or their CTO wants to jump on, or both, I think we should do it. Why not? I think good projects. I'm always here to support good projects with anything that we can do. Even if we might not have the base exposure, I'm willing to help. Some easier payment methods beside credit cards in the pipeline, Apple Pay. Yep, Apple Pay and Google Pay. The only reason we haven't launched those is because our current merchant interface makes it almost impossible. The new merchant interface, we are now waiting on final approval on, which we hope to be active by the end of March. We'll have Apple Pay and Google Pay. Do you feel Coinmetro missed an opportunity with Trump Milana? No, I don't. One, our client base, I don't think has a lot of money in memes. Would it have brought us new clients? I don't think so. I think most of the money that flew into Melania Trump and Libra was degen money, was already crypto money. And as soon as it just was available on different platforms, money from that platform went into it. I don't think we would have saw a lot of volume. I think at the end of the day, it's a reputation ruiner. I understand from the business angle. For instance, I've said this a lot of times, the only other crypto exchange account I have other than Coinmetro is Kraken. I've had it for years. And the reason is that I like their narrative. I like what they talked about. I liked what their ex-CEO now spoke about. I like that he had the balls to stand up and talk about how, yeah, we were here for regulation, but this is ridiculous. This is nonsense. Overstepping is not going to help the industry grow or help protect the end users. That's Jesse Powell for anybody interested. I think going down the meme coin route, I don't think they had to do it. I don't think they had to do it now. But they did it, and that's fine. Like I said, for a business angle, I get it, but I don't think we have. I think we did the right thing by not jumping into that. I do think though that meme coins are going to be a thing. And when meme coins start to come out that actually have utility, that actually have a use other than, losing your lunch money, I think, we're here to list them. Could end of Ukraine war be a catalyst you're waiting for? It's another kind of mainstream media political catalyst. Definitely it'll move traditional markets, which will probably move Bitcoin and ETH and other things that have ETFs, which potentially could have an offshot effect on crypto in general, either removing capital or adding capital to the market. I think it's inevitable that that thing's going to end in relatively quick fashion. Russia keeping the land that it currently occupies, NATO not encroaching, and probably some good carve outs for the U.S. to take a lot of control over things in Ukraine. The war essentially was a proxy war between Russia and U.S. interests. And so, yeah, I think inevitably it comes to an end relatively quickly with negotiations. Whether or not everybody's happy with this negotiations, I'm sure Europe's going to cry about it. But it is what it is. Does that do it? It could. It could be one thing that makes capital flow back into risk markets, because it'll show that, I think when it comes to things like this, you may not like it, but the faster, it's like you'd rather fail fast, maybe not fail. You'd rather get something you don't want, but have it happen and move on than stagnate. Stagnation is not good for markets at all. Never has been. And so I think in the end, it's going to be good for markets. The ending of the Ukraine conflict. That probably means, though, the initial knee-jerk reaction is bad. That's usually, you usually get the contrarian result initially. Hey, Debbie, as an aside, it's looking like Grok 3 is the go-to AI. Yeah, I haven't used Grok 3 yet. I am a Premium Plus or whatever subscriber on Twitter or X. One day I'll get that right. I haven't tried it yet, though, but that's what I've been reading. Of course, I've been reading that on X, so I don't really know if that, how accurate that is. I imagine that people post on X really good about Grok. If ChatGPT had its own social media network, we'd probably have a lot of good things about ChatGPT. So I don't know. But yeah, I've been reading the same thing. I'm sure somebody on the team is probably already using it. A lot more tech savvy people on the team than I am. But I will. I've been waiting for the stand-only app for some reason, and I still can't download it. So a bit upset. Hopefully Elon will click the green button here shortly. No way this war will be over soon. Europe is talking about funding Ukraine with $700 billion. Yeah. I disagree. And, I've been living in Europe for some years now. I'm not European, obviously. But my overall view of this, they're not even inviting Ukraine into the talks to end the war. That should give you an idea of who has the power in the room and who can actually get it done. Europe just wants to look like a good guy, but I don't think they have much power to do anything. If they did, we'd probably have a different outcome already, because Europe combined, the size of the market, etc., should have been able to end this much faster than it's been ended. There's a reason why it's continued on. It's probably nefarious, and it's probably tied to who's actually pulling the strings. And I don't think it's Europe, to be very honest. Again, I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. And we'll see. How's profitability and runway? So still not profitable, getting closer and closer to kind of stability month to month. Runway, though, because of our revenues have increased, obviously gets a bit of an extension. We're probably sitting on 5 months right now. Where had we had the same revenues we had back in, say, October, when it was roughly 7-8 months, we'd be at 2 months right now, maybe less. And so there is, it is extending itself just based on the fact that our revenues are increasing. I think we will see some good news end of March in terms of extending that bad boy and having some other really cool stuff to talk about with you guys. And maybe a little bit of celebration, maybe even a special AMA. I haven't had one of those in a while. I think that'd be really cool. I can see some fresh new comms on X, someone new on the team. No, just someone that's been on the team, but working on other stuff because we had other stuff that we needed to get done. You guys know who he is because he's in Telegram. But yeah, he's smashing it. So obviously we have creatives in there that come from our creative team. We have someone specifically that's running the socials as well and making sure those posts go out there and reacting in real time, etc. But yeah, both of those individuals have been on the team for some time. It's just that we had limited people, and we were these people are good at more than one thing, which is great. So doing other things, and now focused while we hired them, which is great. Trump is blaming Ukraine for the war. Europe-American relations won't be the same. It's on a collision course. I don't believe any of this is actually the case. Not saying that Trump is blaming Ukraine for the war. I got to tell you, I've had a lot of conversations with people that know a lot more about this than I do, and they echo that in a much more educated fashion with a lot more words that you might need a thesaurus to understand, or a dictionary, but they say the same thing. U.S. needs Europe far more than America needs the U.S. in many ways, and so relations will not change. Now there'll be a lot of huffing and puffing for sure. But look, at the end of the day, what you're seeing, I think what I see in this administration, or Trump in general, Trump says things in a very dumbed down fashion publicly that have been said behind closed doors between politicians and between world powers for decades. He's just saying them publicly. And the fact that things like X exist, people are getting more politically active, even if, they may be ignorant to actually what's happening. People are understanding now more how this stuff works. And that's adding fuel to the fire. I don't think it causes any, major change in relations, to be honest. But it'll be used for political gamemanship on both sides. That's for sure. Publicly rather than privately. We can debate whether that's a good thing. I'd rather have it public than private. I think politicians need to be more upfront about how they feel and what they think, because I think we all know a lot of them are, liars, and they don't do what they say they're going to do. In fact, they do the exact opposite. And, you find corruption in every corner of the world. Even the cleanest country is corrupt to a certain extent. And, maybe you can make the argument that that's how the world goes around. And maybe if it wasn't that way, we wouldn't be where we are. But the question really is, do you think it should remain under wraps, or should it be brought out in the open? I'd rather have them bicker out in the open. 100%. Because that bickering is going to be a lot more kind of understandable than what happens in reality. So yeah, I don't think that's the case at all. I think but I do think that will be a narrative to help whoever win re-election wherever. Because, that's what politicians do. They jump on any chance they can to try to keep their jobs. And usually execution isn't one of them. Getting things done. No. But the other guy's worse than me. That's usually how they win re-election. We're 42 minutes in. We got down the political track now. Hopefully I don't get canceled tomorrow. I think cancel culture is gone, which is good. Maybe me and Oliver can finally do this Between Two Ferns crypto edition now, and not find ourselves like 6 feet under. That'd be really interesting. I'd really like to do a show like that. I think it'd be amazing. Transparency is why I choose Coinmetro. Thanks, Debbie. It's the only way forward, in my opinion, in crypto, government, and a real experience in life. Yeah, I agree. The thing is that it was easy to hide things in the past. People could assume, right? But it's not easy anymore. And so people are tired. People are tired of having to assume what they're being told is probably not the truth. And that just gets frustrating, and, it kind of weighs down everything and everybody. I would rather have a hard truth than a nice lie. I think most people are the same. Still plan a U.S. office? If so, where? Well, eventually we probably will need one. Part of the talks we have going on in the background are specifically about a potential entrance physically into the U.S. I don't know where, but if I looked on a map, I met also in Dublin the head of the Stablecoin Commission in Wyoming. Name is Anthony Apollo. Great guy. Grew up in New York. I grew up in Connecticut. So lots of funny stories to share back and forth. Really like the cut of his jib. If you're from the Northeast, I guess you get that one. Maybe it probably comes somewhere else. Almost sounds like it might come from the UK. I don't know. But anyway, point being is that if we were going to choose a place in the US, I think it might very well be Wyoming. Wyoming, Texas, definitely not Delaware. Not because I think I'm going to get some kind of billion payout package that's going to get shut down by a judge, or if I would even agree to something like that. But Delaware's off the table. But I think Wyoming would be probably the first or one of the first choices. They're trying to do things the right way. They got more legislation on the books than any other state in the U.S. I think I was told 47 different laws now related to crypto. They're trying to do it the right way. They're not the biggest state, obviously. They don't have the most power. But they're trying to do things the right way. They're bringing on good people. They're level-headed, like-minded, and they're smart. And that's always a good combination, I think. So I'm not saying it would be Wyoming, but I think there's a fair chance that it might be. Florida, though, would be in the running as well. I think if you had a list of states, there'd be on that list would be Wyoming, Texas, Florida, Nevada. Montana. That might be the whole list. But there might be another one on there. I don't know, but that would probably be the list. So we're 45 minutes in. I think I got through all the questions. The first time I've gotten through all the questions with time on the clock. So I'll sit back and wait for a minute here, and see if something else rolls in. Give you guys a minute to collect your thoughts. Would like to say that I do appreciate everybody's support over the years. I appreciate everybody coming to these things and asking questions. Paul definitely attended this one. So thank you, Paul. Paul's been one of our biggest cheerleaders. I had the pleasure of meeting Paul in Florida a few years ago at Bitcoin Miami. We keep saying we're going to do it again, and we haven't gotten there. He's good enough to send me memes every day on Telegram, which put a smile on my face even on the worst days. So thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. One of our biggest supporters. It's nice. It's nice to see people rooting us on in the background. Thanks, Paul. And thank you, Debbie. Yeah, I know you've been at many of AMAs, so I appreciate you as well. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for coming here and wasting your day listening to me talk about the same stuff over and over again. So thanks for that. But yeah, thank you to everybody. I really do appreciate it. I know it's been kind of a rough road at times. Trust me, I know. No one knows more about the rough road than the driver. Anyway, at the end of the day, I have a feeling that I've said this in the past months, and I'll continue to say it. We are on the cusp. There's a lot of things happening, some that we've talked about, some that we can't yet talk about, some that probably haven't happened yet, but are kind of coming this way. The quality of talks I'm having, not just on the fundraising front, bizdev front, etc. The people that I've met in the short term, the way the world is turning, whether that be not necessarily politically, but at least when it comes to crypto, the things that are happening in the background for this business and our ability to do what we came here to do and provide the change that we wanted to provide way back when we launched this thing are all coming together. And so I wake up every day very optimistic. I'm generally a neutral guy. I would say, I always lean optimistic, I guess, but definitely not negative. But everybody has their negative days. I'm having a lot less negative days recently, and definitely wake up, ready to tackle things. I don't see any other questions. So it's been 47 minutes and 20 seconds with you guys, which has been memorable as always. I'm going to leave it there. I really much appreciate everybody. Thank you very much. I'll give you an old throwback. Have a great rest of your Thursday, great Friday, and a great weekend. When you're hanging out with friends and family, hopefully with no masks on. Because if you're still wearing a mask, bro, get out there, enjoy some sunshine, talk a little bit about XCM and how it's not a meme coin, and how we actually do buy it. And we are one of the biggest buyers because we actually like our own asset, unlike everyone else launching assets in their own name. Get some on your portfolio, get some on your balance sheet. There's some really cool things to come. Thank you, everybody, for your support. I know it, like I said, it's been a long road, but we're still here. We're still fighting, and I'm going to continue to fight. I was going to say until I lose my last hair, but that's already out. My last body hair, that's never going to happen. I'll be dead long time before that happens. So maybe I'll put that on my gravestone. Anyway, before I say something else stupid, have a great rest of your day. Thanks again. Cheers.